Dear students, today we will be discussing about teaching strategies, meaning, characteristics and importance. In a comprehensive way, teaching is considered as an activity undertaken to make learners acquire knowledge, develop skills and attitude which ultimately prepare them for their future roles and responsibilities in true sense. It helps in making children fit for the larger society by imbibing the social and cultural norms and values. Being a planned activity, teaching aims at attaining goals of education where emphasis is given on individual as well as social development of the children. Teaching occurs between teacher and students or a group of students in an academic environment conducive for proper learning. In the words of B.O. Smith, 1960, teaching is a system of actions intended to produce learning. In another definition by Thomas F. Green, it was defined as the task of a teacher which is performed for the development of a child. According to H. C. Morrison, teaching is an intimate contact between a more mature person and a less mature one, which is designed to further the education of the latter. On the basis of these definitions, it can be said that teaching is designed with the purpose of producing learning and helping students or learners in the process of their overall development. It aims at achieving the predetermined goals of education. Teaching is not a rigid or fixed activity, but tends to change with changing time and context. Its flexibility makes it more effective. Teaching learning is a complex process which involves learners, teachers, teaching learning material, suitable teaching strategies and conducive learning environment leading to meaningful learning. For making teaching more effective and learning more long-lasting, teachers use different teaching strategies which are specific steps, actions, behaviors or thoughts teachers use to enhance learning and its production. Here, we will be focusing on teaching strategies, its meaning, salient features or characteristics and importance. Meaning of teaching strategies. Etymologically, the word strategy came from the ancient Greek word strategia or strategos, meaning art of troop leader, office of general or the art of the general. Its original meaning is associated with the steps or actions taken for the purpose of winning a war. The warlike meaning has faded away, but the features such as control and goal-directedness remain the same in modern version of the world. Likewise, teaching as an interactive social process also entails control and goal-directedness. According to Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, strategy means a plan that is intended to achieve a particular purpose. In correspondence to teaching, these are the plans adopted by teachers according to their objectives for achieving their purposes. In their book, Essentials of Educational Technology, Mangal and Mangal have defined the term teaching strategy as the plans, means and specific ways especially devised and employed by the teachers for guiding, directing and showing path to the learners for the realization of the set instructional or teaching learning objectives. It may also be defined as specific plans or ways devised and employed for the realization of the goals. Every goal-directed activity's accomplishment depends upon the strategies adopted for reaching the goals. In simple terms, teaching strategy stands for the type of strategy the teachers use in carrying out their teaching and or instructional works. In their book, Teaching Practice, Problems and Perspectives, E. Stones and S. Morris wrote, teaching strategy is a generalized plan for a lesson which includes structure, desired learner behavior in terms of goals of instruction, and an outline of planned tactics necessary to implement the strategy. The definition denotes that strategy is a plan which is structured in such a way to reach the goals of learning or teaching. Different objectives of teaching ask for implementation of different strategies which work as the means by which delivery or transfer of educationally structured content is provided to the receiver's end. The teaching strategies describe how the ends will be achieved by different means or resources. In other words, it is an organizational plan or set of systematic procedures designed to convey subject matters to the learners. Teaching strategies are the integral part of effective teaching, which is pivotal and pervasive instrument for providing instruction as per the educational goals or objectives. There are different teaching strategies such as recitation, discussion, explanation, role play, games and simulation, independent work, questioning, cooperative task groups, discovery, drills and debate, etc. No teaching strategy is better than others in all circumstances. It should be selected rationally. Teachers have freedom of selecting the appropriate teaching strategy or set of teaching strategies according to their instructional objectives. They are free to even integrate diverse teaching strategies also for accomplishing their goals. The decision regarding the selection of appropriate teaching strategy is strongly influenced by the outcomes the teacher wants learners to achieve. Learning is the process of acquiring new information and abilities, so those teaching strategies must be selected that help students to think about, understand and remember the information that is directly aligned with the outcomes teachers want students to achieve. Characteristics of teaching strategies. Every teaching strategy has distinct characteristics which make it pivotal in the process of teaching and learning. The general features and characteristics are given in the following manner. Teaching strategy is meant for a generalized plan, procedure, ways or means of carrying out the task of teaching. Thus, it makes teaching systematic and purposeful. Teaching strategy involves setting the goals of teaching, determining the steps or actions to be carried out for achieving the goals and mobilizing available resources or means for execution of action. Strategy of teaching helps in realization of educational objectives. It serves the effective purpose of reaching the educational goals. It is always related with teaching, learning objectives and learners. Teaching strategies are selected according to the learning objectives formulated by teachers. Teaching strategies are diverse in nature, which range from simple lecture or narration to more interactive discussion, brainstorming and role play. Categories of strategies range from grouping to individualized, direct to indirect structured, interactive to self-directed, and teacher-focused to student-focused. Strategies can be changed or modified depending upon teaching-learning situation. By nature, it can be autocratic, which is content and teacher-centered, or democratic, which qualifies to be student-centered and democratically organized. Different teaching strategies are simply different ways of helping students to learn, or in other words, are different ways of helping them to achieve the learning outcome. It becomes a means for transferring the content of education from teacher to learners. It helps teachers to decide how to initiate learning process, to engage learners, how to transact the concept, and what teaching learning materials can be selected to make transaction enjoyable and learning meaningful. It makes learning more effective, easy, and fruitful. In order to make it effective, there should be a match between learning objectives and teaching strategies. It does not only consider the logical presentation of content, but also psychological aspects of learners such as their interest, needs, and motivation level. It helps in implementing the principles and maxims of teaching into the classroom to the maximum. It includes the activities both on the part of learners and the teacher for creating appropriate teaching learning environment for the realization of objectives. It requires a number of well-planned tactics for its effective implementation. Importance of teaching strategies. Teaching strategies are very important in bringing desirable changes in the behavior of learners in a systematic and well-planned way according to the predetermined learning objectives. Different strategies have different characteristics and importance in the field of teaching and learning. Here, general importance of teaching strategies is given in the following way. Teaching strategy is the pivotal and pervasive instrument for providing instruction. It can be used for engaging students in critical thinking, collaborative work, creative thinking, and developing skills and attitude. Effective use of teaching strategies brings positive learning outcome in the students. It gives scope to teachers to think critically and rationally about their own practices inside and outside the classrooms. It helps in generating interest of students and it promotes deep and long-lasting learning. It helps in maximizing the students' learning by involving them to actively participate in teaching learning process. Through teaching strategies, teachers deliberately create the opportunities to let students think, reason, and debate their understanding. If effective strategies are adopted by teachers, students develop the sense of responsibilities for their learning and help in construction of knowledge. It helps in creation of conducive and congenial environment for learning. It improves the quality of teaching and learning. Experiments with new teaching strategies improve teaching. It helps in building good teacher-taught relationship. It transforms the dull content into interesting one. It makes learning more relevant to students by fulfilling their aesthetic, physical, emotional, and cognitive needs. It promotes values among students when they work in group through mutual assistance and shared decision making. It promotes greater understanding and increased retention by often providing for active and hands-on learning experiences. It develops social skills among learners. It is the most basic instructional tool. Conclusion. In conclusion, it can be said that teaching is a social process which is exercised for the purpose of producing learning. This learning becomes effective and produced by incorporating certain strategies according to the instructional needs and requirements. These strategies are defined as the plans adopted in teaching for reaching the instructional objectives. These strategies are defined as the plans adopted in teaching for reaching the instructional objectives. These teaching strategies are diverse in nature and are selected and used by teachers as per their needs for realization of their goals of teaching. Undoubtedly, effective use of these strategies helps in creation of conducive and congenial classroom environment and development of required skills, knowledge, and attitude in learners.